The new year just started, and as usual with every new year comes a new list of LEGO Star Wars sets that will be retiring in December. Now remember, not every single set on this list is guaranteed to retire at the end of this year. There are a few sets that could get pushed to 2026. That's what happened last year. There's a few sets on this list that initially were supposed to retire at the end of 2024. So just keep that in mind, but I'm making this video at the very beginning of the year, so these sets are on your radar and that you know they're probably going to retire if you want to get your hands on them. But without wasting any more time, we have a pretty big list to get through of 21 different sets set to retire in December, and the first one is 40755 Imperial Dropship versus Rebel Scout Speeder. This is a LEGO Store exclusive, meaning you can only find this in person at LEGO stores or on LEGO.com, or on the third party, which would be eBay or Bricklink, which is probably the best option if you want to get your hands on this set because it retails for $40, which is pretty expensive. So if you go through the third party option, it will be fairly cheaper, maybe $35 or less. But at the same time, I don't think many people care about this set enough. I personally really like it because it's very nostalgic to me. It's a recreation of the original Rebel and Stormtrooper battle packs, and I love both of those sets, so I personally like this thing, but I do admit it is overpriced and not many people are very interested in this. But if you are someone that is, I mean, it's going to be retiring in December. Next up is 75304 Darth Vader Helmet. This set has been on shelves for a very long time. It released back in April of 2021, and it's just been so popular and it's sold so much that LEGO has just kept on extending its shelf life. But if you ask me personally, I think December 2025 is where LEGO is going to finally make this set kick the bucket. At that point, it will have been on shelves for 3.5 years, which is much longer than the usual LEGO Star Wars set lifespan. So if you're interested in the helmet line and you want to get your hands on this, it's set to retire at the end of this year, and I think it's actually going to, but there's always a chance I'm wrong. It could get pushed back to 2026. Next up is a big one, that being the UCS Razor Crest, specifically 75331, the Razor Crest. The big $600 UCS sets typically do have a lifespan of about 3 years. The AT-AT had a lifespan of 3 years. It just retired last year in 2024. So if LEGO is keeping that trend, this set will be retiring in December. It's one of the best UCS sets LEGO has ever made. It's extremely detailed, has an awesome interior that is very fun to play with. So if you're someone that has been looking to get this, just know you have until December of this year. And if you want to find it under its retail price of $600, just look on eBay or Bricklink. I'm sure it won't be that hard to find it on there for less. Next up, we actually have another UCS set, that being 75355 X-Wing Starfighter. A lot of people unfortunately don't really like this set, and I know most of you guys watching this video probably aren't interested in this, but I have to say, in my opinion, this thing is incredible. I love this set, one of my favorites in my collection. It's a beautiful display piece. I think LEGO did a wonderful job on it. I know a lot of other people think otherwise, but if you are one of the very few people that want to get your hands on this, it is retiring at the end of this year. Next up, we have a set that was supposed to retire in 2024 and actually got pushed to this year, 2025, and I think there's actually a chance it might get pushed to 2026, and that's of course 75357 Ghost and Phantom 2. This set is absolutely incredible. It's by far the best play set that released in 2023, and honestly, if you ask me, this and the Star Destroyer that just released in August are the two best play sets that are out right now. They are both absolutely incredible, and if you're someone that doesn't have this set yet, I would actually strongly recommend it to you. It's amazing. As of now, you have until the end of this year, but I think there's a chance it might get pushed back again. Next up, we have yet another set that got pushed to this year that was supposed to retire in 2024, that being 75362 Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle. I don't have much to say about this one. I think it's one of the weaker Ahsoka sets. I mean, the ship is still cool, very detailed, and the minifigures are great, but in my opinion, there's just better options. Although if you're someone that wants this, you have until December. Next up, we actually have a battle pack that just released, that being 75373 Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, and I personally think this thing is incredible. I would strongly recommend it to you if you don't have it. Every single figure is great. The Super Commandos are not as good as they could be. I think there's a few flaws with their helmets, but overall they look good. And unlike most battle packs, the build is actually pretty fun because you get some nice rock work, and you also have that transparent piece that makes the figures look like they're flying, which makes for great playability and displayability. So again, I like this set. If you're a fan of the Mandalorian and don't have it, I would recommend it to you. Next up, we have one of the oddball sets that released in 2024, that being 75374 the Onyx Cinder. I like this set. I liked it when it originally came out. I think the design and build is really cool. There's fun details and fun play features, and the minifigures are interesting. I also actually liked Skeleton Crew quite a bit. Towards the end, it kind of fell off for me a little bit. I thought the very last 2 episodes were a bit underwhelming, but overall, I liked the show, and it was definitely a breath of fresh air from the Acolyte. And like I said, I've liked this set. I liked it since it came out, and it's really cool to know what this ship is now. Although unfortunately, I don't think many people are going to be interested in this, but I'm just saying how I feel about it. I think it's cool, but just know it's about to retire. Next up, we have a Midi-scale set, that being 75376 Tantive 4. This is one of the weaker Midi-scale sets LEGO has made in the past 2 years. I think it's decent. I don't think it's as bad as most people say it is. It is overpriced though, but overall, like I said, it is one of the weaker Midi-scale sets. I just don't think many people are interested in this, and I don't really blame them, but it is retiring if you're interested. Although a Midi-scale set that people definitely care about that's set to retire this year is 75377 the Invisible Hand. This set is incredible. We've been asking for an invisible hand for years. figures, we all want a playset, but this is a step in the right direction, and a lot of people love this thing. I think it's great too. I actually think it might be a tad bit overrated, but I see where the hype is coming from. It's really cool. And if you're someone that collects Midi-scale sets and just somehow doesn't have this yet, or if you're someone that wants to get in the Midi-scale sets, I would recommend this, and it is retiring in December. Anyways though, next up is a set that I honestly forgot existed, that being 75378 Bark Speeder Escape. I don't have much to say about this thing, hence that I literally forgot it existed. I forgot that I owned this set. There's really not much to care about with this unless you just want some 501st troopers. Next up, we have the most overpriced set that were released in 2024, that being 75380 Mos Espa Pod Race Diorama. Now hear me out, I like this thing, and when I say that, I mean just the build. The terrain is great, and the archway is pretty impressive, especially that technique they were able to use. I do think the pod racers are a tad bit crammed on there, but overall it looks good. Although it's hard for me to recommend this to you guys because most people just don't really like diorama sets, and also this one doesn't have any figures, which is also pushing most people away, and it's overpriced. $80 is ridiculous for this thing, but if you somehow can get it for cheaper, I do have to say it's pretty cool. Next up, we have one of the best Phantom Menace sets that released last year, that being 75381 Droideka. And when this set initially released back in May of 2024, it was very hyped up, and for good reason. It looks great, it's extremely detailed, LEGO did a wonderful job on it, it's a great display piece, and it has some awesome functionalities if you're someone that cares about play features, with its arms being able to move back and forth like it's firing its lasers, and then of course it can roll up into a ball. And unlike most sets recently, it's actually fairly priced at $65. So if you're someone that doesn't have this, I would recommend it to you. But if you're also someone that doesn't care about display sets, I understand that too. Next up, we have a set that literally nobody cares about, that being 75384 the Crimson Firehawk, so moving on. Next up, we have 75385 Ahsoka Tano's Duel on Peridia. I'm honestly a bit surprised that this one is retiring so early. In no means is it a great set, it just has a lot of minifigures, and usually sets with a lot of minifigures just sell well and lead to LEGO pushing their retirement date back. But as of now, it's on the list, and I have to say there's really not many redeeming qualities to this. The only outstanding aspect of this set is just Thrawn, because LEGO did a great job on him. His dual molded legs work perfectly, but other than him, the rest of the figures don't really have much going for them. Ezra is pretty cool, but that's about it. And as for the build, I think it's a cool display piece, but overall it's pretty underwhelming and overpriced. Next up, we have another Mandalorian set, that being 75386 Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon Battle. And this set as a whole is pretty average, but the minifigures are incredible. Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon are literally perfect minifigures. If you watched my top 10 minifigures of 2024 video, I actually put Moff Gideon at number 1. He is perfect pretty much. So for those two minifigures, I would recommend this set to you guys, but overall the build is pretty average, and the Praetorian guards aren't much, and it's kind of disappointing that it's lacking the third one. Anyways though, next up we have two sets that not many people care about, that being 75390 Luke Skywalker X-Wing Mech and 75392 Creative Play Droid Builder. Again, nobody really cares about these, but if you are someone that does, they are retiring in December. Next up, we have the only 2-in-1 set that is out right now, that being 75393 TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup. And right now, these are currently the only playset X-Wing and the only playset TIE Fighters on shelves right now, so I actually wouldn't be surprised if this got pushed back to 2026, but even if it does, I don't think many people are very interested in this. The X-Wing is really cool, but that TIE Fighter is not great at all, in my opinion, and it's very overpriced. $110 is pushing it. Anyways though, second to last, we have 75396 Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit. In my opinion, both builds and all the minifigures besides Boba Fett are pretty much perfect, especially Nia Nub. I think LEGO did a great job on him. This is the only time he's ever been made, so that's also a draw towards this set, although unfortunately it's overpriced. $80, ridiculous. So if you can find it on the third party for under its retail price or on sale, I would strongly recommend it to you, but please do not pay $80 for this thing. That's ridiculous. And then last but certainly not least is a set that I'm actually kind of surprised is on this list. I'm almost 100% confident this is going to get pushed back to 2026, but it's actually 75394 Imperial Star Destroyer. This set is absolutely incredible, and this might be a reach, but in my opinion it's the best playset Star Destroyer LEGO has made. It's just a little bit too small, but in terms of detail, I mean, this thing is wild just how good they made it look, and the figures look great too, and a lot of people agree with me. This thing is selling like crazy. The community as a whole considers it to be pretty much good, so that's why I'm kind of surprised to see it on this list, because I know this thing is doing numbers right now, and if you don't have it, I would strongly recommend it to you. As of now, it's set to retire in December, but again, I'm almost 100% confident it's going to get pushed back to 2026 just because of how good of a set it is and how much it is selling. Anyways though, as of now, these are all the sets that are set to retire in the end of 2025. I know some of these are probably going to get pushed back to 2026, so if that happens, I will make an updated video, but as for now, this is what we have. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you see them on the screen right now.